We're going to begin tonight with Jim Bahoosh, who has been a solo house builder and designer since 1983. He is now focused on building small homes inspired by traditional design. He lives in Morrill and prefers to work and build as locally as possible. Please welcome Jim.
Okay, I'm going to trust that we start as soon as we start. I've always liked to build things. This is me, probably around 1966. What it took me a while to realize was that I was allowed to build stuff for a living. It was 1980, I was in my second year of college, majoring in geology, when I had the harsh realization that college was supposed to lead to a job. I was shocked, absolutely shocked. I noticed an article in the paper about a new show starting on PBS. It was called This Old House, and was about rebuilding old houses. It was a huge aha moment for me. It was exactly what I wanted to do. In 1983, I began restoring wrecks. Here I am with my son, Dylan, who was born in this house I rebuilt, so I named it after him. His name's over the door. Halloween a few years back, Dylan, of course, was Moses and I was Justice, blind with sword and scales. We're outside a small house I built. This slide shocks me a bit because it forces me to realize that, yeah, a bunch of years has gone by, and I've been building all that time. By this point, I'm focusing on small houses. This is the first small house I built. Its footprint is 16 by 16 with an 8-foot wide porch. Kitchen, full bath, open room with wood stove down, large room up. When I was building this, a neighbor stopped by frequently. She and her husband lived in this giant waterfront home with no interior partitions, no privacy, and she pined for a house like that one. Here's a 10 by 12. The hip roof overhangs, the old leaded glass in-swing windows bring chateau to mind. Being obviously too small to be a chateau, but having the French overtones, I refer to it instead as un petit chapeau, my little hat. Bed, shelves, kitchen space, wood stove, and sitting area. Occasionally, when I'm between other projects, I like to build these really small spaces. This is a 7 by 7 guest room I built to exhibit at the Common Ground Fair. I took it to give folks an idea of what fits in a really small footprint. This holds a twin bed, shelves, and room for a desk. We've got an interior shot of a similar space coming up soon. Here's another 7 by 7 guest room. This was for a couple with a small vacation home. Their vacation home only slept them, and their guests camped out on the deck. They were in their late 60s, and the deck as a guest room was losing its charm, and they liked encouraging their friends to visit. Last I heard, the guest room's dance card was full to bursting. This is the interior shot I mentioned earlier. So again, the twin bed, shelves on the right, desk on the left, and the beaded pine ceiling, 1 by 6 V-match walls, pine floor with mahogany parquet inlay. Had an old sailboat way past its prime. I parted it out and was left with a pile of twisty, hole-ridden mahogany planking, thus the inlay on that last one. Had a small pile of materials left over from another project and found this playhouse in it. It measures 4 by 6, the door's 4 feet tall, and I can stand comfortably inside. It ended up finding a home as a garden shed for a woman with these beautiful, sprawling gardens. She wanted a place for tools close at hand to her rose gardens, so there it now sits. Here's Judy's house. The main body measures 16 by 24. The L is 10 by 16. There's an 8 by 10 porch. It's got a full basement, 2 full bathrooms, 2 bedrooms, a kitchen, living room, and sitting room. You can see some recurring elements here that I like. There are generous overhangs on the returns and wide trim. From the front entry, you come into the living dining room, kitchen to your right as you enter. There's a wood stove. I'm a huge proponent of small houses, but I really don't like to feel cramped. So I always try to design for a functional, spacious, bright home. Judy's house is about 850 square feet. Here's a peek at the other side of Judy's galley kitchen. Another thing I'm a huge fan of are appliances from the 40s and 50s. The size house I really like is between 600 and 900 square feet. In 1950, when that stove was made, the average size house in the US was 983 square feet. By 2007, it was 2,521 square feet. This is one of the bedrooms upstairs in Judy's house. So in 2007, square footage of new houses peaked at 2,521 square feet. There's all this talk now of how houses are getting smaller and are trending downward. In 2010, the average size new house was 2,392 square feet. Not exactly a huge downward spike. This is Libby's space. I framed Andy's modest 20 by 20 house. He had designed it for one person, himself, and to fit his work-at-home lifestyle. When he and Libby moved in together, his house design didn't work for two people who worked from home. Libby's space was to keep their relationship sane, and it worked. I'm going to spend the rest of my time showing you Martha's house. The main body measures 16 by 20. It's got an 8 by 16 sunroom bump, a 4 by 10 bump out the back for an entry and utility room. It's got one full bath, living, dining room, kitchen, sunroom, 2 bedrooms upstairs. All in all, it's about 650 square feet. Here's a view catching a bit of the stairs, the wood stove, kitchen, and sunroom. Martha's house is built on a slab. The slab also serves as the heat sink for the in-floor radiant heat, as well as being the finished floor. I'm always looking for ways to get materials to multitask. We get triple duty out of the slab, which has a concrete stain applied. Here is one of the few views of a corner of Martha's sunroom without her cat sleeping on the sofa. More recurring elements I'm a fan of. Beadboard ceiling, simple, crisp window trim. The sunroom morphed during the design process from a seasonal porch to a part of the house where Martha spends most of her at-home time. In the bathroom, here we are. One of the things that was important to Martha was a nice deep tub, as lovely to lie in as a clawfoot. She didn't want a clawfoot, though, since the curtain surrounds can make them a bit claustrophobic. So what we came up with was to surround a clawfoot by a box and tile the walls. There's a linen closet out of sight on the left, washing machine on the right. Here we are in the upstairs hallway. House needed a wall or rail at the top of the stairs for safety. This shelving unit gives us that safety barrier we need while adding another functional built-in unit. You can see doors to knee wall storage beyond the shelves, tucked in an otherwise useless corner to the left, additional small built-in shelves. And so, a parting shot of Martha's house. My hope is that you'll see that small houses are a viable and smart option. They're easier to heat and maintain. That small doesn't mean cramped or austere. Small can mean beautiful, sunny, and sweet. Thank you.